Beijing must not launch retaliatory attacks against American firms or U.S. business operations in China, despite U.S. President Donald Trump's threat to slap further punitive tariffs on Chinese goods and restrict Chinese investment in the U.S., a Chinese economist and government advisor has warned. Trump would love to see China make trouble for U.S. firms, Fan Gang, a former member of the Monetary Policy Committee of the People's Bank of China, said in a speech at Tsinghua University in Beijing on Wednesday. The business community is now the only voice in the U.S. that may speak for China, Fan said. If we target them, then we may really lose the trade war. Fan, a leader in an economists club founded by Vice Premier Liu He, said that rather than focus on punitive responses to the Trump administration's trade action, we should further open up our market and create a fair business environment. In the long run, it's good for China. Known as a liberal economist, Fan's tone was soft in comparison with the trade war rhetoric that has come out of China's official media since Trump began imposing punitive tariffs on Chinese goods 6 months ago. But Fan's suggestion that China focus on rolling out the red carpet for U.S. companies and executives seemed in line with the Chinese government's recent responses to Washington's escalatory trade actions. In addition to vowing to slash tariffs on U.S. imports after Trump's imposed punitive duties on Chinese products, Beijing has pledged to further open up its domestic market and protect the interests of foreign businesses in China, including U.S. firms. Companies stock up, delay payments as they brace for more trade war pain. The government has gone the extra mile to woo foreign investment from America, granting electric car maker Tesla permission to set up an exclusively owned factory in Shanghai and giving energy giant ExxonMobil a preliminary green light to build a $10 billion complex in Guangdong. The anti-China sentiment is growing in the U.S. community, but in the past they were our alliance in the U.S. political world, Fan said. The Economist said China has to do some self-scrutiny and admit it has not done enough to open up its domestic market or to nurture foreign business investment. The American and European Chambers of Commerce complained about China's business environment one year after another, and were ignored, Fan said. Now the US, EU and Japan are uniting their fronts, and they are not happy about China. China, he said, now must do many things that should have been done in the past to bring positive changes with its economic system and placate irritated foreign investors. Is Trump's hawkish behavior towards China the start of a new Cold War? Although Fan spoke as an economist, his views also reflected a school of thought within Beijing that boldly favors China and the US reaching a compromise to reduce the intensity of the trade tensions. It is not just about trade imbalance, Fan said. In the past, we could ease the tensions by buying a few more Boeing aircraft. Not now, yet. Fan also called the trade war part of a bigger plan by Washington to contain China's rise. We must have long-term preparations, Fan said. The real intention of the U.S. is not to reduce the trade deficit but to contain China's development, in particular, China's technological advancement. Fan said China will never sell off its U.S. Treasury holdings to hit back at the U.S. amid the trade war because the move would hurt China more than the U.S. China is the single biggest foreign holder of U.S. government debt. The sooner Xi and Trump meet, the better. If China dumps its holdings of U.S. treasuries, the trade war will spread to the financial realm, Fan said. China is vulnerable in the financial field. China's holdings of U.S. government bonds fell for a third consecutive month in August to $1.165 trillion, down from $1.171 trillion in July, according to the U.S. Treasury Department. Paul Grunwald, chief global economist at S. You have to talk, and then you can solve the problem, Grunwald said.